All right, we're back. This is Dr. Patrick Porter with BrainTap Nation. We have a very special guest today, someone I haven't been known for quite a number of years, and we just reconnected, and she's been doing some exciting things since I last talked with her. So Cappi, welcome to the BrainTap network here, and please share a little bit with your background, because you've done a lot of exploring. You're an NLP practitioner, master practitioner. You train people on how to, the number one thing we're talking about today is how to get a mindset to manifest money and keep that money, and just basically have that mindset of a material master. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what got you to this point.
Well, thank you so much for having me here. I really appreciate it. And I'm really excited just to connect with you again. So I just want to share with your audience, many years ago, I actually worked in one of Patrick's facilities for him. And so I'm such a huge fan and love, love, love your work. So it's very cool to reconnect with you and be here today. So my background is a master of hypnosis and a master of NLP as well. And I started studying mindset many years ago, almost 30 years ago, when I got lockjaw in my jaw. I had really bad TMJ, and the doctors wanted to break my jaw and do all this extensive surgery. And somebody recommended I try hypnosis. So back then, 30 years ago, people weren't really talking about mindset solutions. So I was kind of ahead of the game at the time and dove right in, and it changed my life. One session later, my jaw popped open. I've never had TMJ again. And what I realized was how I was thinking and what I was doing to myself through the stress and the internal talk. It was affecting me. It was giving me symptoms and stress, and it was limiting me. So after that initial session, I started seeing so many results that I called my hypnotherapist back and I said, what else can you do for me? So I studied under her for years and just had dramatic life changes, and then became a learner and started going to school and doing everything I could to become a master of hypnotherapy. So it's been a very amazing journey.
That's great. So tell, 27 years you've been in this now. Doesn't seem like it's been that long, right? But you've helped a lot of people, right? You've been enriching people's lives with what you've been doing, and these transformations happen. Can you tell us just a few stories about different things? You don't have to share their names, of course, but tell us the stories about what you helped them, where they were at, their mindset, and then you changed that mindset, and what did they accomplish?
Okay, absolutely. So what I found in doing this work and growing myself is that my sales began to increase when I started understanding how my mindset worked. And then my business and all my results followed. So I started going into real estate companies years ago and talking about how to increase your results by understanding your subconscious and your belief system. So I've had thousands of clients like you over the years, but of course it's the clients that come to you that say, Cappi, I'm really smart at what I do. I know what I'm doing, but I'm not at the level of production I want to be. Or I might be producing results, but I'm not managing my business or my position or my money properly. So what I found after years of hearing the same story, people would come to me and they'd get results with one thing or another. And then they'd always say, oh, but I wish I could make more money, or I wish I could get to that level. So I used to make a joke about it and say, I need a program about people's relationship to money, because they're getting all these other results, but they're not hitting the mark in their profession or at the level they want to produce. And of course, there's that group that does, right? And they have different stressors. So I have people that make massive millions and they come to me for different issues, but I would say 80% of my audience was wanting to increase their professional results. So I've had many clients. I'll give you an example. A lady came to me that she produced really good results, but she was super stressed out all the time. She didn't have balance in her life. So she was working tons and tons of hours. She was miserable emotionally and her health wasn't great. So I coached her. She came through my program, and what she realized is like her drive and her ambition, it was making her sick. So we had to kind of create that inner balance first, and then get her repositioned in her to make her job actually easier for her. So she made more and then relaxed more. Her husband actually called me one day and he said, I don't know who you are, but I love you. Like, I got my wife back. So it's such a personal journey for people. So I always say a lot of training, and as you know, Patrick, a lot of stuff we teach people, a person has to say, I need help. Like, we're not here to force anyone or whatever. It's like they have to be open, they have to be coachable, and they have to really be willing, or the sessions and the content that we create, it's just not going to go in. So I just find that people are getting so much more receptive and really looking for the simple solutions that get them very big results. So that's pretty much what I do. I help business professionals and people that want to really play a bigger game and make their life easier, not harder.
Mhm. Great. Yeah. Well, we usually say we know people by who they hang out with. And you were in a movie that was pretty exciting. I mean, most people out there that are trying to manifest money have read the book Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. So you were in his movie. So tell me a little bit about that experience. Who were the people in it? What was your message, your core message for them putting you in that
Oh,
film?
yeah, it was really fun. So he was in the movie. That was Jill Fielding's movie. She's in England. And it was really an amazing experience. So T. Harv Eker was in it. Brian Tracy was in it, myself. There was about 25 of us that got interviewed by Jill because she went through the masses of people. And I was featured in the film talking about people's personal relationship to money. And it's called The Riches, the 7 Secrets to Wealth, I believe it's called. And then they did a book as well. So that was really exciting because it was kind of after The Secret and people were just really opening up. But we decided to really focus on people's money mindset because so many people were born into like lack, or there's not enough money, or you got to work hard for your money, and kind of all those old belief systems that really don't sustain the wealth that people are building today, right? And the technology and the access we have today. So, I think in our generation, I'll put us in the same generation, we weren't around all that stuff. So it's exciting today. And I think the movie was really a way to share more resources with people, that people started to tap into that rich money mindset and the lavish, I always say the lavish abundant mindset versus the lack, worry, stress mindset, which doesn't produce abundance, right? Like you can't expect to make money and have a lavish lifestyle with a lack mindset. They just don't match.
Yeah.
So
I
the
know.
movie was on.
No, that's great. That's wonderful. Now, I know that in today's world, we're not doing as many public speaking events, not getting out there, but we are going to be together in June, on June 4th in Orange County, right? But you've opened for Deepak Chopra before in 2015. So he's, of course, one of our heroes here. I'm going to be speaking with him in Austin this summer as well at another event. But this is great. So when you talk about the mindset code, tell me a little bit about that. Tell me about how you, yeah.
Yeah, so the Mindset Code is my new book. And so when Deepak Chopra spoke at the Center for Spiritual Living in 2015, Jim Terrell is the minister there, and I speak at that church a ton. Well, I used to, I haven't recently, but so we had Deepak there. So I introduced the church and Deepak and Jim. So it was very, very, very exciting, but I didn't get to personally connect with him and I don't know him or anything, but it was a really wonderful experience. And so, of course, as we're all evolving, when COVID hit, I had written a book years ago and I couldn't really get clear on the title. And I had a big agent, and I had a publicist, and it never really got to the level I wanted to get it to. And again, they weren't mindset experts. So they were trying to kind of put me in a different box. So I kind of put the halt on that. And then COVID hit. And I thought this is the perfect time to really focus and relaunch my book. So I finished my book. It's called The Mindset Code. And it's really all my subconscious secrets, Patrick, that I've created because, we all have our own formula and recipe, right? Like you have BrainTap and it's amazing. And I have different ways that I help people get results. So the Mindset Code, when I got the book done, it just all happened. You know how that works. Things just happen super fast. The book got done, and Stedman Graham actually endorsed my book, which was such a blessing. He read the book, he loved it. And that's Oprah Winfrey's partner. So that was really a blessing, and he's amazing. I'd love to have him at some of our future things. He's incredible. So that's my book, and that's just recently gotten out there. But as far as our events, the one coming up on June 4th, I'm so excited about it because you're going to be there speaking to everybody and educating us, and I'm actually going to be the MC. So we'll get to really create an amazing experience. There's going to be so many incredible people there and many doctors who are really wanting to up their game, reposition their practice, their business, their lives. And we're just here to help a lot of people. So I'm just really excited for us to be here in Orange County and be able to help more people, because that's really what this is about, right? Like, you have your skill, I have mine, everybody out there has their talent, but being a collaborative, purposeful group, I guess you could say, that we're creating, it's so important. And I think people are really, really ready, Patrick. I really do. I think people are kind of over the fluff and the whole motivational thing and the raha shishkumba. You know, it's kind of done, at least for me. And I never really loved it anyway. It's about giving people great value, that when they leave that event, they have a personal experience. Something speaks to their heart or their soul or themselves that they can walk away with, that makes a difference in their life or in their business. So that's really what I think we're up to. And that's just so exciting for me.
Right. So if you're a doctor out there watching right now, one of the BrainTap doctors, or just a doctor that's interested in this mindset stuff, maybe you've never heard of it before, or you'd have to be living under a rock, I think. But if you are, then you can go to wakeupocevent.com. We're going to have all the information there. I don't know if it's updated at the time you're watching it right now, but it will be here shortly. In the morning, we're going to have an event, just a mastermind for doctors. You know, how can we really pandemic proof our practice? Because we can't control what other people do, whether real or imagined. Whatever they're doing out there, we've got to be ready for it. And like Cappi saying, she took that time to finish up a book. You know, if you're sitting there wondering what happened during that time, she now has something's going to make her money the rest of her life, and hopefully get her speaking engagements, helping other people through her writing. And then in the afternoon, if you're one of the vendors are going to do a vendor event, but we're going to have people doing trials on some of the different equipment we're going to have there, so you can try that out. In the evening, we're going to be doing a live event. That's for anyone. You don't have to be a doctor to come to the live event. So check it out at wakeupocevent.com. And there's probably a place there, I'm pretty sure, where you can put in your information. We'd love to have anybody out there that is wanting to improve their mindset and just kind of share their experience. So tell me a little bit now about your background. When you're talking about the mindset, you've had hypnosis training, you had NLP training, you've been training in real estate, you've been working with these people. Where do you think I know it's kind of synergistic probably between all of them, but what do you think was the number one thing that catapulted you from where you were at to now where you're getting these very high quality coaching clients, where you're helping them to move the needle, in like the 7 digits and in greater numbers? So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I think, Patrick, that the energy has shifted so much for us since technology played a big part. So back in the day when I was doing hypnosis and I had a private practice, I felt like a salmon swimming upstream. I don't know if you ever felt that way, but I was kind of going against the grain of traditional training and corporate stuff. And, they'd bring in all these big names that were teaching them, again, Raha Shishkumbha, but they weren't really making a difference in their life. So it was a slow train for me for many years. And a little bit frustrating, but I think, as all of us know, when we're listening to our heart and our soul and our purpose, right? So I developed back in 2008 when the market crashed, I started developing systems, subconscious systems. So instead of just a session, I create workbooks and I help people start to identify their subconscious belief systems. So everything I've created, all my products are systemized. So there's coaching sessions, there's workbooks, and then the subconscious sessions. So I call it my recipe. It's a full recipe for a person to get change. So when I started creating my first real systems, like I was telling you, people would keep coming to me for money. So one of my biggest programs called Mental Money Mastery, and it's people's relationship to wealth. It's a 21-day system. It comes with a PDF download workbook, coaching, and I walk them through the workbook basically, and then they do the subconscious session. So it's a different session each week on their money mindset. So I focus on their current relationship to money, their past relationship, and then I future pace them. So I would say, for me, after years of speaking, and I've, spoken for thousands of companies, what I realized is I would sell my systems. I have a subconscious sales secrets that people that want to increase their sales, that's all focused on positioning and how to grow my business. So I create systems and then people can buy me in a box. It's basically like you have BrainTap in the app. I have like on my website, they can just download my system. So what I was doing is I started going into companies and I was speaking at all these events talking about my systems. And then afterward, I'd sit with a CEO or a business owner and they'd say, well, how can this help my internal team? Or how can, and I thought, how about if I create a system for your company? So then I started co-branding products with companies. And that's really what took me to a whole nother level of the clarity of all the years of work I did is how do I create a product around a company, make it suit their needs, their problems, their issues, and then create the solutions for the company and co-brand it. So that's what I've done. And I do a few of those a year. And then out of that, I typically get my elite executive client that coaches one-on-one with me, but I only take a few of those a month. And then mostly when I speak, I send people to my website, my products and stuff. But that really was a big game changer for me to start creating those programs and products for companies.
Right. Well, tell us a little bit about beliefs, because people think they have a belief around everything. So tell us a little bit about how beliefs play a role in this and daily behaviors and decision-making, and maybe focus it a little bit on money, since that's what we're talking about a little bit. So tell me a little bit about that.
I love it. So our beliefs, as you know, and again, you have your interpretation and I have mine, but what happens is we get these beliefs. I say, like when we're little kids, our eyes are like video cameras. We're just taking in the data around us, right? And that programs us, and we're 80% conditioned by the time we're 8 years old. So if we have this brilliant mind, but it's programmed like a cell phone, if you have tons of apps, or your computer eventually gets out of storage, right? And that's kind of what happens with beliefs. So we get all these built-in beliefs, and then we're trying to put information on top of all belief systems. And a lot of people go, well, Cappi, I've read this book, I've done this, I've tried this, but they don't have the outcome. They don't have the result. So then when I ask them, like, let's explore your belief system. So what do you believe about money? What do you believe about success? Whatever it is. So when somebody starts to look at their internal belief, because it lives inside of you already, right? A lot of times what people try to do is do affirmations or say things like, I am a millionaire, but their belief says, no, you're not. So that's the challenge. So I teach people, first identify the belief you have. If it's limiting you, or if it's telling you something that doesn't align with your outcome, you want to say things to yourself like, I'm beginning to believe, because there's no resistance, as a hypnotist, right? There's no resistance when you say, I'm beginning to believe that my success is easy. That's a suggestion that's very easy for me to believe. So I always teach people, you have to begin to believe things that serve your outcome. If you want something and you have a conflicting belief inside, the outcome is never going to align with you. I often say the universe is like a mirror. You don't stand in front of the mirror and get mad at the reflection for not smiling if you're not smiling. You have to smile first. So it's the same thing with our beliefs. You have to believe it first, then the outcome follows. But most people want the outcome and then they'll believe it. Doesn't work like that. So beliefs live in the subconscious. They're not logical. So that's really why I call it my belief book. My workbooks are belief books. They help people identify, what do you believe? And then how do we shift that? Then we put the session in, and then they're like, okay, I get it, right? So it's a process, as you know. Nobody has the magic wand, poof, right? We use these methodologies to help people get into the subconscious, start to shift that belief system, so then the outcome aligns with the new belief.
What are some common core beliefs that our listeners might identify with, that they might not know that it's really blocking them from entering into the wealth state of their life? Or, what are some of the things that they might look out for? Or do you have a test that they take or something that shows, hey, you've got these limited beliefs? Or what can you do for that?
I actually have a money questionnaire on my website. They can download that for free. And once they download it, then they get a money subconscious session for free. It's just like a 10-minute, it's kind of a good way for them to explore that. But so I would say a core belief.
Let me tell you, it's at CappiPidwell.com. So we'll have that in the comments. So you can go there and download that over and on our website and get started with that. So just want to make sure they understand it and go right. Okay. Go ahead.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So you asked a great question, and I'm sure you've heard this in all the years in your career too. Like, I'm not good enough is a big limiting belief, and I call it the enoughness factor. Right? I'm too old. I don't know enough. I'm not smart enough. I don't have enough time, money, whatever. So the enoughness factor is huge. And another one is deservability, and you can call it worthiness or value, but a lot of times people don't put prices on really what they deliver. And I say it's not about hypnosis, it's about the outcome I give people, right? So those limiting beliefs, I used to have a ton of them. Trust me, I had a million of them. So doing the work, Stephen E and I talk about this, like we have to do the work to let go of, I say as a hypnotist, I have to undo more than I have to do for people, Patrick. Right? So sometimes it's the undoing of limiting ourselves and saying, wait a second, I don't have to be A, B, and C to be successful. I have these talents, these gifts that Cappi has, you have everybody has gifts, everybody has talents. So how do we get out of our own way? So I would say the 5 core ones are: I'm not good enough, smart enough, whatever, unworthy, not valuable. And another deep one is love. Not lovable. And I think those core things sometimes show up. People think, oh, it's business, it's separate. No, as entrepreneurs, we are our business. So I always say it's what we're coming from, not what we're going to. I don't go to get anything because everything already exists. What am I coming from? If I'm coming from love and care and compassion, and I'm coming from a fountain of fullness in me, then I'm going to align with other people that are coming from that. And the people that aren't are going to just bounce out of my life pretty quickly. So that took me many, many years. And I still do hypnosis every single day. I was birthed in a ton of lack and struggle and stress. And I wasn't born into, abundance and money is easy. So that's where the real work is. And I think it's like people like you and I, we create the products and the solutions for people that so many people don't know how to this level of learning. So I think it's such a personal journey for people. And so I tell people, identify what it is for you, because what was for me might not be for you. But if you sit there and you say, what do I believe about my success? Or what do I believe about X, fill in the blank, love, whatever it is, then your subconscious mind has the answers, right? Not us, but we then provide whatever solution fits the need. I always say, feed the need, feed the need of my clients, right? And then they get to pick what suits their journey, their soul journey right now. So
that's great. Yeah, I know that in psychology right now, one of the big pushes is the imposter syndrome, where people feel like they get to a position of power or wealth and they feel like they're an imposter, so they blow it. They do something, they get caught at the strip joint or get a DUI, or they get in a negative relationship or whatever, something they basically, they don't consciously do this. It's a subconscious thing. So that's really important. So let's move a little bit more to one I know you're an expert at: stress. When you think about stress, I know that if you're under stress, I know you can take a stress test. If you've moved, got a divorce, gotten married, you had a new child, all these, started a new school, whatever's going on, these are all stressful events and they change the way we think about things. So tell me how that works into mindset and how you coach people through that.
So great question. And you're right. Everybody deals with stress in different ways. So the average individual has over 500 words a minute flowing through their thoughts constantly. That's a busy mind, right? So if we're focused on worry or fear or circumstance, so I'll give you, for instance, many years ago, there's 6 kids in my family. My older brother had a heart attack and he passed away, and it was very sad and stressful. And then a few years after that, my little brother was hit by 2 kids street racing and they killed him. So I went through a lot of stress. In 3 years, I lost 2 people that I love very much. So going through the court and, it was very stressful. I'm a single mother, raising kids, building a business, all that. So what I did during that time is I gave myself permission, to grieve at certain points. So I always tell people, feel whatever's there for you. If you're overwhelmed, if you're sad, if you're whatever it is you're going through. If I think what happens a lot of times, Dr. Porter, is people try to avoid. They think, oh, I don't want to feel it. I don't want it, but it's already there, right? Like the impact is there. So I always say, feel it first. Like give yourself permission to feel sad or depressed, or give yourself like 2 hours or 3 or whatever. And once you honor how you feel, because we're always going through different emotions all day. Someone cuts us off, people get mad, like you say, they move, they get divorced, someone leaves them, whatever. That's called life. And I think what I've learned in all this is circumstances are always changing. They're constantly shifting. So we have to get comfortable with change. And so when I went through all that stress, I gave myself permission to feel the feelings for a little bit. And I find when I honor how I'm feeling, I kind of just move through it much faster. But I think when we resist and we, try, I'm not going to think about the blue elephant in the middle of the room, right? Yeah. That's all we're thinking about. So you have to manage your thoughts on what you're focused on. So if I give myself permission to feel sad or crummy, because trust me, there's times I do, I will just turn everything off. I might sit with some music. I cry. I feel it fully. And that sounds trippy, but like I let the emotion and then it just goes. It's like, okay, what's next? But so that's how I cope with it. But I didn't used to do that. Some people overeat, they overdrink, they, take pills, like you say, they can't sleep. So I would say for anybody, I actually have a free stress reduction. I'm sure you have plenty of products too on stress, but this mindset of ours, you guys, it is the most powerful computer of all. It is the most important thing you can understand to master, because what you focus on expands. So if I let myself feel something and then I move through it, then it's so much easier to go, what do I want to focus on that makes me feel good? I always say what we feel, we make real. So I'm very tuned into what I'm feeling, what I'm focusing on. And when I'm feeling crummy, I just give myself permission for an hour, because we all go there. I'm not perfect, but I don't let myself stay stuck there. And I don't make massive decisions out of that mindset ever. So it's like, no, that's going to go on the back burner. When I'm clear and I'm back into happy Cappi, then I can make those decisions and focus on those things.
When you're at a party or you're celebrating with family and friends and somebody comes up and says, Cappi, what is something I can do today? What are some tips maybe you could give us some big wins or at least get people thinking in the right way? Because I mean, like 30 years ago, they wouldn't even be thinking this was possible. Now it's in the consciousness of people. I think most people know, they'll tell you, whether it's an athlete or a business person, they'll say, it's in my head. There's something blocking me. So what are some of the tips you give people?
So that's a big question, right? Because so many people do have questions about it. But if you think about all the thoughts you have a day, right? They say the average individual, 80% of their thoughts are typically focused on what they don't want to have happen, right? That's the average thinker. So this is like, it's like going to the gym. Everybody knows they should go to the gym, but you could stand in a gym, but if you don't lift up the weights, you're not going to get a workout in the gym. So it's not the gym, it's doing the work. So when somebody comes up and talks to me about anything, it happens all the time. I'm sure it does to you too. You're standing in the kitchen, you're trying to whatever, and they're like, Cappi, they'll pull you in the corner or whatever. So, I'm very light. So if I'm at a party or something, I just tell people, look, I'm here to have fun too, right? Because it gets a little bit of overwhelming sometimes. But I think the biggest thing for people is to get the resources. So we could talk about this all day, Patrick, but if people don't go download the free money checklist, if that's their issue, I have a lot of free things on my website. You have resources too. So you have to, just like going in the gym, the person who has the problem or the challenge or has a need that they want fulfilled, they have to do the work. So, when people are stressed or they say whatever, it's always, what are you focusing on? If you're going to talk about your problems all day to people and I say, like, if I have an issue, I kind of have a rule. I only get to complain about it or talk about it twice, and that's it. Because if I keep putting energy on it and pouring energy on it and keep focusing on it, it's just going to grow bigger. So I'm very conscious of what I'm focusing on. So I'll give people a tip. Here's a little tip. So sometimes during the day, if I'm overwhelmed or I have a million things going on, I'll go take a walk. I love to walk. So I live on a lake. I'll go walk outside. And what I do is I look at all the trees. And if you look at trees, wherever you live, there's thousands of them. All the leaves, if you looked at one tree, I promise you couldn't count the leaves on it. That's abundance. They grow naturally. They're not worrying what the other tree looks like, or if this one has flowers or this one doesn't. They don't care. That's universal life force energy. They're growing innately, right? And that's what I do. I connect with things that are abundant. I look at the leaves and I go, there's trillions of them. I have a gazillionaire mindset, right? Like there's abundance everywhere. I breathe in the oxygen and go, I'm not worried about how many in-breaths or out-breaths I'm taking. So I practice abundance. I practice love. I practice bliss. And then if I do that for an hour and then I come back home, it's like I feel incredible. And then I do a session every single day, every single morning, and every single night. So, I'm a walking billboard of this work. But that's how I'm able to get through those circumstances and those losses and those challenges and, all the problems that people have. You have them. We go through stuff too, right? But it's how do I manage those circumstances? I don't focus on them. And I can tell you, like, I was sharing with my family, a lot of my family is still paralyzed over those events. So I'm very grateful that I've understood how to master my mindset and I know how to focus forward and not backwards. So we have a future in front of us, we have a past, and we have our present. So my job today, I always say what I think and do today produces my tomorrow. So if I'm taking care of myself today, I will have a more prosperous, abundant tomorrow. But if I'm focusing on something that happened, 10 years ago, I'm going to keep producing. I'm going to drag all that into my future. So I kind of try to teach people, again, in a nutshell, like what you focus on expands. Think about what you want. But, a lot of people go, that sounds great. This is a practice, I think. Would you agree with that?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I have another, when I was training our franchisees, which you knew Bob there in Orange County, with the what I would always tell them, because money, they had to be worth a certain amount of money just to be a franchisee, so they should have had a money mindset. But you'd be surprised how many people had $500,000 or something that they could invest, but then they were willing to blow it all and not do the right thing because they had thinking like, I remember one guy saying that rich people were evil. And I remember eating out to dinner with him. I said, what did you just say? He said, rich people are evil. I said, the best thing you can do for poor people? He said, what do you mean? I said, don't be one of them. And then the other thing is that so that got me thinking, and I did a little research. This was in the late 90s. So I don't know what the number is now, but at the time they said in circulation right now, all of the cash that's in circulation, if they split that up with all of us, we'd all get about $3 million. And we'd play Monopoly. But what they said in this article was they said that the same 20% would have that money back in less than 5 to 7 years because they have the mindset to make that money. And so I would drive that home to my franchisee. I said, what about your mindset is either chasing away money or basically misusing money? And that goes back to relationships, right? So you talk a lot about relationship to money. So tell me a little bit about how you first made peace with money, or you've made this wonderful love relationship with money that's not, some people have this misconception that I always tell people, money's the way you keep score. I'm sorry, because people always thought I was always just into the money. And I'm like, no, but that's the way you keep score. So I'm into helping people. So my motivation is helping people. And I still remember my wife, when we first started our business, she got all stressed out because of paying bills, and which can be pretty, if you're not used to it and you're 26 years old, you start freaking out. And I said, it's not the money. We need to focus on the people. Help enough people, you'll make enough money. So that helped us. How do you help people get over that? And I was brought up, just I thought the Knights of Columbus were part of the family because they were always coming over helping us out. We always brought the best foods when we were giving the can of food at the church for the needy, because I thought maybe that basket was coming back home. So that's the way that I was brought up. So tell me a little bit about what you've been doing to help people in their relationship with money.
I love that. So I talk about our relationship to money because money is, it's kind of like when I speak sometimes, like I'll have a glass of water or hold up a bottle of water or something. And like, we don't walk around and worry about glasses, right? There's trillions of them all over the place. We're not like, oh, are we going to get there? And is there going to be a glass? I'm just using that as an example.
Yeah.
Right? Is there going to be a fork? So it's the energy we put on money.
You need to come to India with me. You'll be asking those questions.
What'd you say?
Come to India with me. You'll be asking those questions.
Well, here in the United States
Yes.
anyway, right? But
Yeah.
I'm saying the average individual doesn't walk around and worry about something like that. Okay. And again, you could use anything, right? A pen, right? Whatever. People aren't worried about those things, right? And money, you could put money in the same category. So your relationship to money, what I did in Mental Money Mastery is in one of the sessions, I have people close their eyes and sit across from a pile of money. And I say, now imagine a loved one next to that money. If you were to talk about that loved one, like you're not enough and there's not enough, and you put that energy on a loved one, would that relationship grow? It wouldn't. That relationship would run from you. So if you transfer that same energy onto your money, we'll call it a pile, okay? And you sit with that money and if you're worried about it all the time, it's not going to grow. Right? Go sit in front of a tree and worry about it every day. I promise you it'll die. So it's the energy. So I teach people it's not it's a feeling you have toward things. So if you look at your pile, however much, I always tell people the amount doesn't matter to me. If you look at the energy of money and you sit across from it and say, okay, I'm going to build this amazing relationship with you, because here's the key, you guys, money doesn't move without you. You have to have a rich relationship to it. We move money, we transfer it, just like you say. We help people. They pay, we pay. It's a give and take. It's not I'm going to hoard it. I'm going to keep my pile and no, you grow, you flow, you move money, you make money. It comes and goes, right? So, but when you're worried or you're hoarding or they're thinking there's not enough, there are trillions and trillions of dollars being electronically transferred right now as we're talking. Just imagine on the internet right now, all the money that's moving through the universe right now. We're a part of that. So that's what I teach people. It's not about how much or how to get it. It's how do you think and feel with money? I don't care what the amount is. So in Mental Money Mastery, I have people look at their bank account every day online and pour love on it and just sit there, because so many people avoid I don't want to look, or I don't want to know. Just sit with it. Be present to it. It's what you have now. But if you focus on having a rich relationship, more opportunities are going to come to you. If you sit and worry about those bills or whatever, I promise you, you're cutting the cord to opportunities and more money. So it really is a learning, and we're not taught this stuff in school. And even financial planners, unless you're a CPA or something, they're taught about money and how to manage money and stuff, but they're not creating the relationship, right? It is a little even more fear-based, like, oh, well, you better not run out of money when you're old, right? So it kind of fascinates me how people think about it. So I think about money as something that it's probably the best investment you can make to upgrade how you think and feel about this thing we call money, because that's when people truly prosper. They stop worrying about how much they're charging people. When people say, oh, Cappi, that's so much money, you're not my client. Okay. So I already know I have a very rich relationship to this thing called money. And if I'm trying to help someone, they're going to pay me for my time and for the results that they get. And that's what they're paying me for. So I wouldn't in the past be able to charge the amount of money I charge today. I would have been, oh my gosh, now I don't care. I'm like, I know there's plenty of money out there, and the right person's going to align with me, and they're going to see the value and they're going to pay it. Other people, oh, blah, that's their money issue, not mine. So we have our own money mindset. So if you want to enrich it and up it, I promise you, just like the mirror, you feel abundant, rich, happy, you look in that reflection, just like the universe, it's going to bounce back to you every time.
That's great. Well, we're just about to wrap up the podcast for today, but tell me a little bit about what I forgot to ask you. What's the burning thing you want to tell the BrainTap Nation that I haven't asked you about, or just reinforce something that you've already said? Because we covered a lot of ground here today, but
Yeah.
give me a chance to just say what I might have forgot to bring up for you.
No, I just want to tell you how much I appreciate you and your work and everything you've done for the world. You're brilliant. I thought that before I ever met you. I read your book, and it's really an honor to just share time and resources with you. And I'm looking forward to doing more. And I want to share with your audience, again, you guys, it's to me, your beautiful mind. To me, the mind's kind of our wholeness, right? You're already whole. You're already fabulous. But if you want to make those improvements and you want to get the results, results. Work with people that have products that really get you real results. There's a lot of fluff and stuff, and I'll end with this, Dr. Patrick. I had a guy call me the other day, and he said, Cappi, I worked with you years ago. I went online to try to find, I listened to a bunch of stuff. None of it worked for me, right? And so I was like, okay, so, you know, I'm going to work with them a little bit. But it's so important to find the resources and the things that support your success. So do your homework, do your research, and align and come to our event, because there's going to be a lot of amazing people that are giving real results to people. And that's really what we're here to do, is share solutions with people that want to grow personally and professionally. And I'm just honored once again and grateful that we've realigned. So I hope everybody got a lot of value out of today.
That's great. Well, I'm sure we're going to have you back doing some other things as well. But you can go to wakeupocevent.com, learn about it. Come and see Cappi and myself. We'll be there. We'll spend some time with you. Get to see. One of the things she brought up that I think is really important is the internet has made instant experts just because they can put up a web page and put together a string of sentences. The reality is that she's been there, she's done that. She's kind of like the Rambo of money making. She can teach you how your mindset, you know, I'd rather go to war with Rambo, who's been there, than the general that learned it from college. So let's get out there. Let's work with Cappi. If you have any interest at all, go to her website, Cappi Pidwell. That's CAPPIPIDWELL.com. It will be in the podcast notes. If you're driving, you want to come back to it, you can see it, but go check it out. She's got a lot of free content there. Free is always good to get started. And then she has a lot of materials you can just do at your own leisure, your own pace. And then, of course, if you want to step it up and go to any event, you can meet her in person in Orange County, like I said, or you can probably have a conversation with her if you're so inclined to be one of her coaching clients. So you can check that out. So again, Cappi, thanks for being on the BrainTap network. And we're going to keep working to get some of that content onto BrainTap so that people can use it. I mean, we have a lot of users that I think would really find a lot of benefit from this, using it the BrainTap way. Of course, it works anyway, you know, just the way that we're always doing it over the years. So I appreciate you being here. Thanks for sharing your knowledge, your wisdom, and your smile here today. So thanks again, and we'll be back helping people, and you're helping us better a billion brains. That's all we can ask for. And I think that the more we help people raise their conscious awareness that they are the abundance from the inside out. It's not a gift given to you by someone else. You are heir to the riches of the universe. You simply have to open your mind to it and know that you're actually necessary. You're not just some happenstance or coincidence that happened on the earth. Step up into your greatness and realize it. So thanks again, Cappi, for your wisdom and sharing with us today.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, if you're a regular BrainTap user, then of course, tune in every 2 weeks. We'll bring you another BrainTap Business Journal podcast, helping you to grow your business or your mindset. Today, we focused on mindset, but I've never been to a self-enrichment seminar or some way to improve myself physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, that didn't come back and move the needle on my practice, because we bring into our lives those people based on our frequency. So let's all raise our frequencies. And Cappi, thanks for helping us to shed some light on belief systems and other qualities that you shared with us. And tune in, please share this video, this podcast, with anyone you know that's dealing with any money issues, or someone you know that maybe, like Cappi stepped up. She's a single mother doing this. I mean, that takes a lot of guts in itself. So let's start sharing with people, sharing the positive messages that are out there, and telling people that this could be a change. Like, she spent her COVID time finishing up one of her books. Let's take our time and use it wisely. We only have so much of it. So let's maximize that. And we look forward to seeing you all at